That would be unfortunate.
I don't think you see him do
We're a few minutes, we're at 4:01 here according to my handy dandy phone, so I suppose we can probably get started if there's some latecomers. There'll be latecomers in this app. So, hi there everybody, welcome to the Pathfinder RPG What's Next seminar. Throughout the seminar we're going to be talking about the products that we have scheduled coming out over the next year. I'm going to talk briefly about some of the stuff that's coming up very soon, and I'm going to spend a good deal of time at the end talking about the Advanced Player's Guide, which is my current project that I'm working on at work. A lot of the other projects that I'm going to talk about are either already off to the printer or are in another stage of writing, so I have less to do with them at this stage, but I still know a fair bit about them. I'm going to spend a good deal of time talking about these products, and then at the end I hope to let you guys take a look through the bestiary, however briefly, and I might just have a surprise or two hiding up here for everybody. So let's get started here. How many folks here already own the Pathfinder RPG? All right, that looks like just about everybody. Except for you.
It's heavy.
Yeah, I've heard your excuses, sir. No, all right. So good. You've all got the first book. That's your first step into a brave new world of a revised old world. Anyway, the next big product that I think we're coming out with, that I think everybody's pretty much looking forward to universally, is the bestiary. The bestiary is a 320-page monster book. It is a collection of monsters from the 3.5 OGL, trimming out some of the monsters that were less desirable. Togenite, anyone?
Yeah.
Hey, quick show of hands. How many of you have ever actually fought against a Togenite? Looks like we cut the right.
Was it in a Grey Orc mod once?
It was. That was Eric Mona, actually, who put it in there, and I give him crap about that comment. Yeah, there are some monsters that we cut from the OGL. You will not be seeing the Delver, the Togenite, I think the Arrowhawk went, the Urthak, the Straken, a number of monsters that were hard to pronounce. We just got rid of them. That doesn't mean these monsters are gone for good. It just means that when we came time to put together our first bestiary, we decided to cut some of the chaff and put in some good monsters. So what you're going to find in here are some monsters from other sources and from mythology that we pulled into the game. So you're going to find things like the Dark Stalker. You're going to find things like the Cyclops. There's a host of monsters that we pulled in from a number of different monster books, Tome of Horrors being one of our favorites. There's a number of good classic monsters that needed a really good treatment and update. Now, the monsters in this book, you're going to find them very similar to their 3.5 counterparts. However, we spent a good deal of time looking at each monster individually for balance. My best example of this is the poor Roper. The Roper was like CR 12 or 13 or something and had like 80 hit points. It's a classic monster that was just a complete pushover. So now the Roper, I was like, how many hit points does the Roper have? I can't remember. Oh, I've got the book right next to me. The Roper now has 162 hit points, so he's a bit more buff than he used to be. You don't want to fight a Roper. Ropers are hungry. In addition, we've made a couple other changes to the way our bestiary works to make it easier for you guys to reference. I can't tell you how many times I was reading through the 3.5 monsters and I would see phrases like, under swallow hole, muscular action closes the hole. How many times was that repeated in the book? I mean, it was in there a lot. So, especially for some creatures that didn't have muscles. That was always my favorite part. What we've done is we've taken a bunch of common monster rules and combined them into one chapter that we put in the back of the book called the Universal Monster Rules. So when a monster uses one of these rules, we don't reprint it in its stat block over and over and over and over again. We put it in one handy-to-reference place, and to be honest, most of us know how Rend works. So we won't even need to reference that. But if it's your first time, there is a handy place where all of those rules are collected. In addition, you will find monster creation rules in the book, monster feats. We took monster creation rules a bit farther than we have in the past, in that we gave you the chart of our assumed averages for each monster. So you'll see things like, there's a chart that says, a monster of this CR should have roughly X hit points, should have roughly X AC, its attack should be roughly X, etc., etc. That way when you're designing a monster, the rules for which work much the way that they did in 3.5. You know, you add hit dice, and you know, it adds to its base attack bonus, all sorts of things. When you get done, you at least have an average that you can look at and go, is my monster close for that CR? It makes monster creation really easy if you're one of those GMs that loves to dream up new beasties. So yeah, that's the monster book. It's 320 pages. It's crammed full of charts and tables. There's for those of you who are just players, the bestiary contains a number of animals, which we give animal companion stats in the bestiary for the ones that we couldn't fit in the main rule book. There's some new monsters in there for the summon monster tables, and a host of other kind of useful player tidbits. I'm not going to pretend like this book is super useful for players, but there are a number of really good uses, especially if you're playing like a summoner or somebody who's you know, calling outsiders and things like that. So that's the bestiary.
Any monsters as PCs?
There are guidelines in here for playing monsters as PCs. They're a little loose though, because the monster system and the player system don't necessarily play well together. However, we do give good guidelines based off the monster's CR, and using that as a level adjustment. We got rid of the straight level adjustment rules because those didn't really work all that well, and we're kind of overly penalizing at higher levels, right? I mean, I can't tell you, you know, having, you know, a 2+ level adjustment at higher levels was, you know, a death wish, right? You were way behind the rest of the party, and those hit dice and abilities you got at low levels, which were good then, don't scale. So we put in a rule in there that as you gain levels, some of that level adjustment begins to go away to a set amount, which means when you first get it, when the abilities are most useful, you pay the most for it. But as you gain levels, you slowly catch up to the party a little bit. You'll never quite equal them, generally speaking, but you will get close, which means that you're not paying through the nose just because you're a Minotaur, right? You know, at 18th level, having 4 Minotaur hit dice and powerful charge really doesn't matter that much at all. I mean, you know, it's the Tarrasque. Well, it's a good thing I have powerful charge. Yeah, you're done. You know, but at low levels, right, that's a very useful ability to have. You can deal some real serious damage with that. So that's how we kind of deal with that. Moving on from the bestiary, one of the next products we have coming out is the GM screen. The GM screen is a 4-panel screen. It's printed on like board game stock. You know how heavy, thick cardboard board game stock is? Our screen is printed on that, so that this screen will really hold up, especially if you go too far and your players start throwing dice at you. You can always hide behind it. The screen, the outside of the screen has all of our iconics lined up. It's a nice piece of art pulled together from all of our iconics. The inside has 2 of the panels are covered in skill charts. So a lot of the skill charts from the main rulebook, we've taken the ones that are the most common, summed them up a little bit in some cases, and presented them for you right there on the screen. That's on 2 of the panels. The other 2 panels deal primarily with combat. However, there is the XP tables on the far right side. The thing that I'm really pleased with this screen is I was able to put in a large box of condition summaries. So some of the most commonly used conditions now are right there in front of you on the screen. Things like grappled, shaken, stunned, all of those are just summed up for you right there, so you don't even have to flip open the book. So that's the GM screen. That should be out relatively soon, actually. We may have gotten it in the warehouse while I was gone, but who knows?
Guys, and the bestiary is going to be soft cover like that?
No, the bestiary is a 320-page hardcover book. Yeah. Retails for $40 US. I don't know what the conversion rate will be, and after shipping.
Come
The
on.
Pacific Ocean is very big, so I apologize for that.